All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tackling a topic that could honestly change how you see, well, everything. Your mood, your energy, even the clarity of your thoughts. We're going to explore this incredible and seriously overlooked connection between your gut and your brain. So, let me ask you something. Do any of these hit a little too close to home? That frustrating brain fog when you're just trying to focus? That annoying bloat that shows up after a meal? Or maybe you're just not sleeping as well as you know you could be. The source material we're digging into today suggests we might be looking for answers in all the wrong places, and that the real clue, it could be in our gut.
Okay, so let's get into the first big idea from our source material. We're told to think of the gut as way more than just a digestive tube. In fact, it's called something much more powerful, our second brain.
And trust me, that's not just some catchy phrase. The source explains that our gut has this incredibly complex nervous system of its own, one that can actually think for itself. So what does that really mean for us day to day?
Well, it's called the enteric nervous system, or the ENS for short. Just try to picture this, a massive, tangled web of millions of neurons. We're talking more than in your entire spinal cord, all lining your gut. It's so smart it can handle the whole process of digestion without any micromanaging from the brain in your head. It's a true command center right there in your core.
So if we have two brains, you've got to wonder, how do they talk to each other? Well, this is key. The source material makes it super clear that it's not a one-way street. It's a constant back and forth, a two-way conversation happening every second of every day.
And they've got a few different ways of chatting. You've got the vagus nerve, which is like a direct superhighway connecting them. They also use chemical messengers. And here's a totally mind-blowing fact from the source. Over 90% of your body's serotonin, that feel-good chemical, is made in your gut, not your brain. And on top of all that, the trillions of bacteria living in your gut are constantly sending out their own signals, influencing everything from your mood to your food cravings. This really says it all, doesn't it? We've all felt that nervous flutter in our stomach before a big presentation. That's your brain talking to your gut. But what the source is arguing here is that the reverse is just as true and just as powerful. An unhappy, inflamed gut can send out signals that make for an unhappy, foggy mind.
So how can you tell if that communication line is getting a little staticky? Well, according to the source, the signs that your gut is out of whack can be really common, things we might just brush off as a normal part of life. Just take a look at this list. The source suggests that things we tend to blame on stress or a bad night's sleep, like those crazy sugar cravings, skin problems that just won't quit, or that general feeling of being irritable and foggy, could actually be your gut trying to send you a message.
Okay, so what's causing all this trouble in the first place? Well, the source points a finger at a few key things in our modern lives that might just be throwing our gut health completely off balance. This slide really lays it out. Chronic stress, it's not just in your head. The source says it can physically cause inflammation in your gut. Antibiotics, which can be lifesavers, can also accidentally wipe out all the good bacteria we need to stay healthy. And a diet heavy in processed foods? Well, that's basically a feast for all the bad guys in our gut, which can throw the whole delicate system out of whack. And the impact doesn't stop there. The source makes another huge claim that as much as 70% of our entire immune system could be housed right there in our gut. If that's the case, then keeping your gut healthy isn't just about digestion or your mood. It's absolutely central to your body's main line of defense.
All right, that was a lot about the problem. So let's talk solutions. What can we actually do about all this? Let's break down the simple, practical steps the source material suggests for getting back on track.
So the path to healing, it seems, starts with just paying attention, noticing those connections between how you feel and what you eat or do. From there, the source suggests being mindful about medications, maybe adding more gut-friendly foods like yogurt or kimchi into your diet, and finding really simple ways to manage stress, even something as easy as taking a few deep breaths.
Now, I have to pause here because this is incredibly important. This is an explanator of the source material we've been given, but it is absolutely not medical advice. The source itself is very clear on this. If you have serious, persistent symptoms, or if you're thinking about making any big changes to your health routine, your first and most important step is always to talk to a qualified doctor.
So, if we had to boil this all down to one single takeaway, this would be it. The next time you're feeling mentally foggy or down, or just off, maybe the first question you should ask yourself isn't, what's wrong with my head, but instead, how's my gut doing? Because according to this material, those two are connected in a way most of us never even imagined. And that brings us to the end, so I'll just leave you with this one last question to chew on. After everything we've talked about, what's one small, simple step you could take, maybe even today, to start supporting that powerful connection between your gut and your mind? Thanks for tuning in.